So we're going to be checking out a subreddit I found pretty interesting, r/LateBloomerLesbians, which, as is obvious by the name of the subreddit, is for lesbians who only came out as lesbian later in life. And what I find very interesting about this subreddit is that some of the women in this sub were actually married to men before they came out as lesbian. Anyways, before we actually look at some of the posts in this sub, I want to read this linked document about compulsory heterosexuality, which can be shortened to CompHet. So what is CompHet? Well, quote, women are taught from a very early age that making men happy is our job. We're supposed to be pretty for men. We're supposed to change the way we talk so men will take us more seriously. We're supposed to want a man to love us more than anything else. Our magazines are full of sex tips on how to better please men. Our movies are about how we're supposed to fall in love with men. We literally cannot exist without men loudly grading us on how we're pleasing them visually. And because that, women are trained from childhood to see men as the default romantic and sexual option, and that, quote, compulsory heterosexuality is built into the moment you're born into this time and place, and it takes a long time to dismantle it. So how do you know if you're a lesbian? Well, basically, you just have to learn if you can have fulfilling relationships with men and or women, as well as if your feelings for men are genuine or just patriarchal induced, and if you actually do like women, but are just suppressing the feelings in order to fit the heteronormative world. For instance, if you have a crush on a fictional male or a male celebrity, that is sometimes actually a symptom of CompHet. Since these men are unobtainable, closeted lesbians will sometimes develop crushes on them because it allows them to appear heterosexual while never actually having to engage with men. If you have liked men in the past, that is still acceptable, since sexuality is complicated, as well as the fact that it was in the past, and it takes time to figure out who you are and what you like, and if you're actually attracted to men, or if it's all just CompHet. Many lesbian women have conflicting feelings for men, since feelings are very complicated, and it can be very hard to figure out where admiration ends and attraction begins. And because of this, many women force attraction to men where attraction does not actually exist. And then there are just a bunch of signs of CompHet, from liking the idea of being with a man, but rationalizing all these excuses not to be with them, like getting the ick over a bunch of small things, to doing sex out of obligation, to not liking your friends' male partners, to wanting to kiss your female friends on the mouth. So the idea behind all that is that sexual orientation isn't always obvious, and because we live in a society where we often assume that other people are heterosexual by default, there are some lesbians who do not know they're lesbians because they just rationalized heterosexuality, and so they don't realize they're lesbians until much later in life. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's actually browse this sub. So most of the top posts of all time are just some women posting about coming out or getting married, and other subreddit members congratulating her. But I do like this one. Being a lesbian is hard because when I hit on women, they think I'm being friendly. You could be as forward as, your ass is amazing, sit on my face. And she'd be like, thanks girl, it's the jeans, 70% off at American Eagle if you're interested. Yeah, I guess this is because women compliment other women so much, in a non-romantic way, then a woman does get complimented by a woman, she thinks that she's just being nice and she's just being friendly. Anyways, now onto some actual posts. Did sex with men actually feel joyful for you before you realized you were a lesbian? Anyone here else who also enjoyed it? A lot of stories here make it sound like it was always awful or repulsive, but for me, it honestly wasn't like that. I had phases where I had sex with men and enjoyed it in the moment, or at least I thought I did, because the physical closeness and the validation felt good. It wasn't until much later that I thought of the contrast that I fully realized where my true desire actually lie. Are there any other late bloomers here who had a similar experience? How did you process the fact that things didn't inherently feel terrible back then, but you eventually realized you were a lesbian? We'd love to hear some of your thoughts and experiences. For me, it was never terrible, it was just fine. I think I enjoyed the closeness and the intimacy more than anything else, but there was always something missing. I couldn't quite explain it at the time. I used to fantasize about women a lot, and for a long time I just assumed that I was bi. Looking back, I think I was kind of going through the motions and assuming that this was what it was supposed to be like, rather than questioning it. I realized I'm sexually attracted to women and not men, and I think for a long time I was just looking for validation, rather than recognizing what I actually wanted. Looking back, I feel like I conditioned myself to like/tolerate it. I never enjoyed it. I had to really focus, and never really felt natural to me. I used alcohol to cope. It felt like a shut-off for part of my brain, and I couldn't let go and enjoy it more. From my perspective, the best relationship I had was 4 years long with a man who never pressured me for sex, and I never wanted it. I felt guilty and confused about why I didn't. I wanted to want it. He was a good man, but obviously it didn't work out. Everything makes more sense now, and sex is amazing. I'm so thankful I figured it out, and I'm not living with the feeling of being broken anymore. Yeah, so this is what the lesbian master doc was talking about when it said that many lesbians get themselves into heterosexual relationships and might even enjoy it to some extent, but it's never really true love. Anyways, on to the next post. Anyone here have severe CompHet / no idea they were gay until you caught feelings for someone? I'm curious about how common my experience is. I'm in my mid-20s, and I had no clue I wasn't straight until a few months ago. It was literally a random Friday morning at like 3 a.m. when I realized what I was feeling for another girl was a crush. It was so strange because I never actually pushed anything down. It's almost like it was trying to claw its way out of me, and I just sat in la la land completely unaware. It took me months to finally realize my feelings for her, and I was dating a man at the time, which I ended soon. I realized it gave me much clarity on many things from the past, but I still question how the hell I absolutely had no idea, and never considered it. I literally never questioned my sexuality until I met this girl, and I've never felt the way about her, about any man or any person in general. 30 here, and I thought I just wanted to be friends with those women for the longest time, lol. I don't know how I didn't realize until the past few months. Was never in a relationship with a man either, so I don't know how I didn't realize sooner, but better late than never, I guess. Hahaha. I was in the same friend group, and I just progressively got more excited to hang out with the friend group as the months went on, or so I thought it was just about the group, but it turns out it was about her, lol. The night before the realization hit, I was so excited to go hang out with her and another friend, and I remember spending a long time getting ready and focusing on smelling good, etc., and I still didn't realize what was going on until way later in the night. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is what the Master Doc was talking about, that having close female friends and feeling something in your chest clench up and having an unusual close friendship with a female friend growing up that was different in a special way, but you couldn't quite articulate. It seems a lot of women struggle from CompHet and need some sort of epiphany to realize once and for all that they do in fact experience attraction to women. If I hadn't met my husband, I've had quite a few bisexual women friends say to me, if I hadn't met my husband, I'd exclusively date women and non-binary folks, or some variation of no more men. And after finding this group, it makes me wonder if they were late bloomer lesbians instead. Not that I'm about to suggest that they can't be bisexual, but it's certainly a curious statement, especially when one said she wished we could have met before she got with her husband. Has anyone else had this said to them, or said it themselves before coming out? I'm asking because I can't stop thinking about it. I knew a few bi women married to men who talked like this. In my experience, they enjoy the comfort and privileges being with men in a hetero society, and do sincerely love their husbands, but they do vent that the grass is greener on the other side feelings to you, and get some attention from you to boot. Unless they tell you they're lesbians wanting to leave their marriage, I wouldn't try to read some sort of secret intent on what they're saying. Me casually saying if my husband died in a car accident or something, I'd never be with a man again. Super normal stuff, you know. Anyways, I'm working up the courage to initiate the divorce this year. Honestly, I feel like this scenario is just as much a nightmare as your wife coming out as lesbian. Because imagine marrying your wife, thinking you're soulmates, and it turns out they would rather be with a woman. Like, oh, you're just going to remain married to me because society told you to marry a man and I bring comfort, but your true love is a woman? Like, could never be me. I told my husband and now everything feels awful. I told my husband this weekend that I'm gay, and his reaction was so much more intense than I have ever imagined. I'm struggling with feelings of regret and feeling very confused. He wants to work on things, and we have agreed to go to counseling. He's having visible panic attacks throughout the day, and it's causing me additional anxiety. I have been listening a lot and trying to be comforting and telling him that let's just talk through this with someone, because it's all very confusing for me, because it has been very suppressed for a long time. It's not something I can easily make sense of, but it feels very hard to be comforting him when I have my own pain and grief and panic now. I just feel like I'm carrying so much right now. I feel like all I've accomplished was turning my life into chaos and causing myself to feel incredibly alone, because no matter how supportive the couple of friends I shared with, they can't actually relate. And on top of things, we have a 6-year-old who is bouncing around oblivious to everything, and I have to resume my regular work day and meetings. I feel like it's a bad dream, but I know I can't wake up from it because it's a reality I created from my own volition. I would appreciate any kind of encouragement, sympathy, support, etc. This is so hard. I totally get it, and my husband reacted similarly when I told him. The only way we could both slow our panic down was by figuring out how to keep our house and family together, while I could still honor my sexuality. It was too much to bear to plan a separation so soon after coming out to myself fully and to him. Maybe take it slow, one day at a time, and keep your kid your priority. You did the right thing by sharing your true authentic self. It gets better. He will start to come out of shock and denial, There may be some anger, resentment, sadness to come, but that's how grief goes. The marriage as you both knew it is over, and it will need mourning to process it all. I'm so sorry for the pain. I know how it feels, for sure, and it hurts. Things are a lot better now. As someone experiencing pain from the end of my own relationship, my heart goes out to you. Sometimes the kindest thing to do for both of you is the most painful thing to go through. Just hold on to the fact that it doesn't make you a bad person. My therapist put into me the incompatibility that was in my relationship, and it was only a matter of time when it came to the surface. Better to confront the painful truth now than for it to emerge in its own time in a few decades. You're giving your husband the best chance of making his own informed decisions. In the meantime, the pain is excruciating. For me, it's been about surviving, but you're absolutely doing everything and reaching out, one step at a time. You don't need to solve everything at once. And know that there is a whole community here full of so many people who can relate in various ways. Thank you for this. I basically got to the place of telling him because of this community, and processing that being honest is a kindness. His initial reaction was from a place of so much shock and anger that he could not accept that. I was able to share more of that with him this morning, that yes, I understand he is in pain and hurting, which he continues to vocalize to me, but that I'm in pain too, and I'm really just trying to be honest and real because he was already hurting with how things were, and this is really hard for me, that I'm going to be in this situation because how hard it is for me, not because I wanted to manipulate him or because I was feeling selfish, etc., etc. I think he finally understood that aspect. But that doesn't mean that his thoughts and emotions won't fluctuate on that or forget that aspect again, which I understand, but is hard. You broke him. You rejected all that he is, his entire identity as a man, a husband, a father. And I'm sure it's hard for you, but he is feeling unfairly punished, like he had been wrongly convicted of a crime and sentenced to eternal torment. The panic attacks, the dread of what comes next, the misery of sleepless nights, and as a man, the embarrassment. Embarrassed that he couldn't satisfy you, that you need a woman. How can that be? It just can't be true. You've had too many years, too many good shared times. Why not just divorce? Why do this to him? What are you doing to him? Maybe it's for you, but he feels attacked and betrayed by the one person in this world he was closest to, that he knew he could trust. But no, that's not true at all. He can't believe in anything anymore, but you're getting to live your truth. To reject said heteronormative lifestyle that you're certain was not meant for you. Who knows? Maybe in the end it will be worth it. Maybe when you're 90 looking back, you'll feel pride about your bravery. You'll have a close relationship with a kid who admires you. Maybe your husband will even accept you as you are. But for now, you should try and understand his pain. You inflicted it. You chose it. And you were surprised by it. Don't try and ignore it or deflect it. Embrace it. Feel it. It's real. The subreddit really is just a lot of that. Some women that are proud they finally can live their lives as their true selves, while other women are in despair as they made the decision to torpedo their lives and their husbands' lives. It really is a tragedy all around. Years wasted, entire families and lives torn apart, just because some women were under the impression they experienced attraction to men, when in actuality, it was all just CompHet. And so as the truth unravels itself, so too must the lives built around that lie be unraveled. So what's the moral of the story? If I had to choose one, it would be that if you're a woman who dates men, make sure you really are heterosexual, and not just doing what society told you to. And if you're a man, make sure your wife is genuinely heterosexual, as it's best for everyone if we discover the truth about ourselves today, rather than waiting for that truth to reveal itself later.